Cannot wait for the It sequel. Oh.
That's cute. You get one sequel.
Well, yeah, that's all we need.
60 years. 60 years of Godzilla.
You brag about it like you wrote it.
Oh, I wish I had.
Today on the show. Happy Thursday! How's it going, guys? Today we are talking about movie sequels.
Real quick, Did y'all have a good Halloween?
It was like day before yesterday.
I know, but we forgot to ask because we were all excited for Worst Week.
True.
Did you have a good Halloween? I had a great Halloween, personally.
Yeah.
You had a good Halloween.
I hope I did.
You were scared. I
hope I had a good Halloween.
I hope you had a great Halloween.
Man, Halloween weekend is the long that weekend before is the longest weekend in history. Okay, this was my weekend. Okay, yeah, Friday night at the Hotel of Terror, which is the last weekend we're open, so just ridiculously busy, right? Getting out of there, we close at like 1:30 somewhere in that area. Don't get out of there till about 3 o'clock in the morning, which means I don't get home till about 4 o'clock in the morning. I then have to be back at the Hotel of Terror Saturday morning at 8 a.m. to march in a parade. Get done with that about noon, 1, somewhere in that area. Go home for a couple of hours. And then have to be back at the hotel for our busiest night of the year, the Saturday before Halloween, for that ridiculousness, which is just absolute insanity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody thinks that Halloween is our busiest night, but it's not.
No,
not by far. The Saturday before is what we call Pub Crawl Saturday. That's where the Saturday before Halloween is when downtown Springfield has their big pub crawl. So not only is it just ridiculously busy, but they're all hammered.
They all want to go through and climb stairs. That should be fun.
And it may snow.
Yes.
Right.
It may
actually.
There's
a possibility of snow or there was a few days ago. We film in advance. You guys know this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Most of this.
But today we're going to talk about movie sequels that didn't happen.
Yeah.
They were planned, but didn't happen.
They were contracted. People were visualizing them.
The scripts were written. The stories were out there. Now we are excluding. Like if a movie came out and it was like a planned trilogy or a planned series of movies and the first one didn't do well in the box office, so it was canceled from there, those are excluded. These are movies that came out as standalone films that Hollywood looked at and said, yes, we need another one of those. Mm-hmm. Let's make a part 2.
Roll with it, part 2.
They planned it, they wrote it, got it ready to go before screens, and then canceled it. Someone saw the light of truth.
The light of truth.
Yeah.
Do we want to start with the blinding light of truth first?
Yeah, go for it.
So we're going to start with the blinding light of truth. Battlefield Earth 2.
It almost happened.
In fact, John Travolta actually signed on to do this, guys, because
that was his passion project.
Because the actual story is 1,000 pages long, so they only filmed about half of it to begin with. He signed on to it. They had extended the script out for a part 2, but thank God we as consumers said, oh no more of this stuff, because the first one was horrible.
Yes.
And the second one might as well have been flushed.
And it has nothing to do with Scientology. It just has to do with the fact that was a god-awful movie.
It was a bad movie. It was a bad script.
Horrible.
Bad actor.
Horrible
plot.
Yeah.
Like zero plot.
The ones that I've got here are all movies that I actually enjoyed. And in some cases, would actually enjoy even seeing a sequel to. Mm-hmm. This one, not so much. Forrest Gump 2, Gump and Co. Now, this is one that actually was released as a novel. Came out right about the time that Forrest Gump, the movie, came out. And it basically kind of continues the adventures of Forrest. In this one, he continues the whole guy in the right place, right time shenanigans as the first book and the movie did. In this one, he invents new Coke. He crashes the Exxon Valdez, knocks down the Berlin Wall, which of course set the Hollywood Hills alive with the sound of sequel. Eric Roth was brought back on to pen the script, which he turned in the night before 9/11, and said that he sat down with Tom Hanks and Bob Zemeckis, and they looked at each other and said, "We don't think this is relevant anymore. The world has changed." So 9/11 actually is the reason that Forrest Gump 2 never happened.
That's kind of depressing because Forrest Gump wasn't a bad movie.
It wasn't a bad movie, but the sequel was not necessary.
Yeah, I don't think it would have lived up to
it would have. Yeah, it would have been. I mean, the first one was lightning in a bottle, and the second one was just fluff.
Yeah.
I mean, even the book was fluff. I mean, he basically. I mean, he does all these things, but in the book, he loses everything. Like the first line of the book, if I remember right, was like Bubba Gun Shrimp went under and all this. I forget, but yeah, not as good.
See, he's getting the good ones. I'm telling you the ones that we were saved from. Like Showgirls 2. Showgirls 2 was basically the one of the characters from Saved by the Bell. She wanted to branch out in Showgirls. And she did. She completely was the opposite of her character on Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yeah.
But Showgirls 2, the end of the actual film kind of set it up. Luckily, Showgirls: A Story of Hope didn't make it.
It was supposed to be a hopeful story.
It was supposed to be a hopeful story, and it didn't. I'm glad it wasn't. The sequel followed the lead character Naomi as she tried to make her mark in Hollywood. But it was mooted. It was a dull point. I'm glad they pitched the script and didn't make it.
Let's face it. Anybody that went to see that movie went to see it to see Jesse Spano naked.
That's exactly right.
It did not forgive the fact that the movie was atrocious.
Yes.
Atrociously bad. But wow.
Yeah.
Here's one that almost came out a few years ago, and instead of we still got it. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Ferris Bueller's 2, Another Day Off.
What?
Yeah, this one would have seen Ferris, now a 40-year-old motivational speaker, that facing a midlife crisis as he approaches the big 40.
Mm-hmm.
So he enlists Cameron, now his business manager, to play hooky for a day and party like it's 1986. Considering that it would be difficult to make the sequel without Matthew Broderick, who's now in his 50s. And that it's, it just simply didn't come to fruition. However, we did get in its place a Super Bowl commercial.
He bought it. How can I handle work on a day like today?
Yeah, I remember that Super Bowl
commercial. If you remember that,
yeah.
That was the payoff for that script that was almost called Ferris Bueller's 2, Another Day Off.
And if you watch the end of Deadpool,
yeah.
You get a... Hey guys, here's a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Will Smith almost did an I Am Legend 2.
He blew up in the end.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
But this was a prequel. Hollywood was big on prequels back then. So after the horror hit Will Smith, I Am Legend, they went ahead and greenlit and did some pre-production work on another one. Basically, it filled in the gaps of his character leading up to everything going south. Kind of taking over the infection route, how it happened, why it happened, where did everybody in New York go to. It basically led up to, you see in the opening scenes of I Am Legend, where he's driving down Broadway, just him and his dog.
Yeah. You know well, never mind. That's totally off subject. Here's one that I actually would love to see, and something that the article says that it gives it as a reason for it to not happen, I wholeheartedly disagree with, because I've actually talked about this for a long, long time. Passionate about this because it is my favorite movie of all time, and that is The Breakfast Club. There was a sequel pitched for it called 10 Years Later. Basically, there was a ton of desire for this. John Hughes even expressed a strong desire to revisit several of his iconic characters, including the Brain, the Athlete, the Basket Case, the Princess, and the Criminal. The original idea was to catch up with the gang a decade after the film, but he ended up losing interest in the project over time, telling the Hartford Courant in 1999 that there is no excuse that could ever put them in the same room again. There isn't anything in their lives after high school relevant to that day. I disagree. See, I wholeheartedly, the idea that I always had in my mind to it was their 10-year or 20-year or whatever high school reunion.
There's a class reunion coming up.
And that was kind of the day that turned their lives around or whatever. So in reflection, one at a time, they kind of wander in and, into the library and be like, oh, hey, memories, blah, 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 blah. Somehow, whatever, they end up getting locked in or something, or, something happens where they are now forced to be in the same room together. And we find out, where their lives have gone since then. And of course, now they're all playing different roles than they did in the original, but that's always been my idea. And let's face it, it wouldn't work. It probably would not work. But I would rather see that, a bunch of middle-aged people discussing how much their lives suck now, versus seeing a reboot, which is going to happen eventually.
Maybe, if we're lucky, Hollywood will
and when it does,
grubby hands off of this one.
I will burn Hollywood down.
It's a good movie. Just like Ferris Bueller was a good movie. Leave him alone. Please. And here's one we can't forget about. Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii.
Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Wow.
Yes. This was a thing.
This was a thing, yeah.
You can find the script online.
Tim Burton actually expressed the idea of revisiting the Beetlejuice. Basically, the film has forget their names. But anyway, the Dietzes, yes, the Dietzes. They go to Hawaii to do their own thing, and Beetlejuice follows because of Winona Ryder's character. So we get the whole shebang again, where he falls in love and wants to marry Winona Ryder's character, and Burton. Basically, it was a joke. It was a big joke.
The studio press for a sequel Burton didn't want to do, so he wrote the worst thing that he could come up with, and it actually gained traction for a little bit, but thank God it got shut down.
Yeah.
So we almost
thought it would be a funny match and something.
Because what is it about '90s movies that was like the big thing? Was part 2? We're going to Hawaii for some reason or another.
Because people probably could afford for the first time to go to Hawaii.
Pretty much.
And then it lasted about that long, and now nobody can afford to go to Hawaii.
Pretty much, yeah. And last but not least...
Wait a minute.
What?
In the grand finale, Beetlejuice turns into a gigantic monster, Juicifer, when his plans have gone to heck and back, and reanimated dinosaur skeletons and monster Easter Island heads. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is horrible.
Yeah, it pretty much kind of ripped off, or Scooby-Doo 2 ended up kind of ripping off bits and pieces from
Yes, it did.
A lot.
Wrap us up.
Or the first one, I guess. Wrap us up. Last but not least, a timeless classic, E.T. 2, Nocturnal Fears.
They would have made a horrible video game out of this one, too.
Call it a case of 80s greed. Just over after E.T. opened and stirred up an unexpected box office bonanza, Steven Spielberg and screenwriter Melissa Matheson came up with the concept for a follow-up film. Their idea? A ship full of evil carnivorous aliens, and this is their words, kidnap Elliot and his friends, and it's up to E.T. to save them. Yeah, there is a full treatment online for the full story. Thankfully, Spielberg realized it rather quickly that taking this iconic alien into darker territory was a bad idea. Sequels can be very dangerous because they compromise your truth as an artist, he recently said. I think a sequel to E.T. would do nothing but rob the original of its virginity. People only remember the latest episode while the pilot is tarnished.
He's got a point. I mean, we as a public have a really short attention span, mm-hmm. So when the new stuff comes out, we forget the original.
One bad entry can ruin a franchise. Absolutely.
See Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you've got trilogies to separate them out, but yeah. If you were to consider 6 movies or 7 or 8 now, as a whole, no one wants to watch the first half of it.
Even though the first half sets up everything.
See, I see it as one giant continuous
movie.
It is a saga to
me. If you look at it
bad
that way,
parts, good parts.
If you look at it that
every
way,
movie has its ups and downs.
It's actually, I'm still not going to sit down for 10 and a half hours and watch them.
Oh, I have many times. So anyway, there's plenty more out there. So what's a sequel that you would have liked to have seen that was actually something that was planned? Again, planned out trilogies that were canceled midway through do not count. So put those down in the comments below. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter.
Yeah, you're here watching us on YouTube, so do the YouTubes. Do all the YouTubes. The
Do the things.
the sharing, the subscribing, the commenting.
The push notifications on all platforms.
You know when we upload, but you need to know when you need to upload. No, that's wrong. You know when we upload, but your friends don't know when
But you
we
need to
upload.
be the first to know when we
That's
upload.
right.
And this way you'll get notifications when we do. So, get those turned on and we'll see you then when that little ping goes off. Bye-bye.
I'm Blake from the Dungeons of Doom, and this is your Russian clip of the day.